So, here we go again. Ready to tackle on episode 2 of the Acolyte with me? I gotta be honest, I almost gave up after episode 1, but upon seeing the reaction to my video of the first episode, I figured I owed it to all who tuned in. Thank you all for your support.
Previously on the Acolyte, nonsensical script, bad acting, and cheap-looking sets and soundstage.
Alright, I'll stop now. Episode 2, Revenge Justice. We start off the episode in the planet of Olega, in the local Jedi temple. I know this because it quite literally says it on the screen. Now, let me stop here for a second. This begs all kinds of questions, doesn't it? Do most planets across the galaxy have local Jedi temples? Like, the same way we have cities with local police stations, do all planets across the Star Wars galaxy have local Jedi temples? Correct me if I'm wrong, but if we're using real-world comparisons, which I know we shouldn't because it's Star Wars, but if we are gonna use real-world comparisons, aren't the Jedi supposed to be closer to the military police than just, space cops? This is what I mean when I criticize this show for atrocious world building and unbelievably lazy writing. For the first time in live-action Star Wars history, we're given a chance to explore a time period set way before the events of the Phantom Menace, an era never previously shown, the High Republic, or some shit. Now the showrunner and writers are too incompetent, inexperienced, and lazy to attempt any kind of world building. We have literally no idea exactly how it is that the Jedi function in relation to the worlds they inhabit. Do they get involved in petty crimes, riots, mass murders, or do they simply only step in and intervene when one of their own gets killed? Everything is so frustratingly vague. Now, do the locals of these planets that have Jedi temples even support the Jedi? Are the Jedi seen positively, negatively? Once again, don't ask questions, just consume product. Ugh.
Don't ask questions, just consume product.
Anyway, we continue on with May as she uses a little girl to break into the Jedi Temple. Who knew it would be as simple as that? Now, can someone explain to me why the little girl was needed? It seems like May could have just simply thrown the little gadget on the lid of the robot thingy and it would have opened regardless, no? Apparently, security is non-existent at these local Jedi temples as no one seems to notice the hooded assassin dressed in dark robes and wearing a mask casually stroll through the temple, even coming into direct contact with a passing Jedi who apparently didn't sense anything out of place. I mean, come on, there's stupidity and then there's the Acolyte level of stupidity. These showrunners and writers continue to impress. It is here where we're introduced to Jedi Master Torbin, a Jedi so weighed down with guilt that he simply just levitates all day in deep and intense meditation. Does he eat? Do people bring him meals? Does he ever need to take a break to pee, or does he simply just piss himself? Does he ever feel the need to defecate? If so, does he simply just shit himself? Do other Jedi come in and change his soiled clothes and then wash and clean up after him? I mean, you can clearly see piles of clean robes, so the natural assumption is that there is somebody bringing him these things. Or maybe Master Torbin utilizes the whole Force teleportation bullshit from the Rise of Skywalker and simply teleports his turds away to another location entirely. Oh my god, now I really want to see a Jedi teleporting their fecal matter away to like the bedroom of an in-law or an annoying sibling or something. But in all seriousness, does Torbin ever leave his meditational state to function like a normal human being and thus perform normal person tasks? Hashtag does Torbin poop? So many questions, and yep, you guessed it, the showrunner and writers don't care to answer any of them because fuck you, peasant! You should all be grateful you're even getting the masterpiece that is the Acolyte. May attempts to attack Torbin, but his constipation is so strong with the Force, her attacks are simply no match and are thus repelled by the invisible Force wall of gas. Well, that didn't work. Let's try throwing daggers. That's a good trick. Oh, they too failed and was scattered all over the ground. I guess it's time to go and escape through the skylight opening. After finally realizing someone had broken in, the Jedi begin to check the entire temple, and somehow this doofus doesn't seem to notice the daggers scattered on the ground below Master Constipation. Ugh, look, I'm sorry, I can't. This show is almost offensive with how stupid it is. I'm not exaggerating when I say this episode is even more retarded than the first. We're switching to some highlights from here on out, but don't worry, you really aren't missing anything important or worthwhile.
But I'm better company than a droid. And, way more flexible.
Oh, I bet you are, Amandla Stenberg. I bet you are. Leslie Headland's wife tells Saul about the assassin breaking into the local Jedi Temple of Olega. And we're introduced to the character who is totally not the Sith Lord, but Kuro. What makes you think that? Well, the writers, in their infinite wisdom, decided to make this character into an absolute buffoon from the way he acts. Yet, all of his dialogue about how he took over the store from the previous owner, and the way he goes on to give May knowledge he most definitely should not possess on how to kill the Jedi and find their weaknesses, yada yada yada, clearly suggests he is far smarter and more cunning than May. What a way to spoil your own upcoming twist. Is there really any wonder why this show is so disliked? Oh look! Jedi Wookiee foreshadowing! Oh, I'm so excited to see a Jedi Wookiee wielding a lightsaber and kicking all kinds of ass. Oh yeah! I mean, it's not like the writers would be dumb enough not to deliver on this promise, right? Right? You'd think with an active ongoing investigation involving a Jedi killer out on the loose, the Jedi Temple would have either closed the fucking skylight opening or posted a guard in Torbin's room, but nope. May simply and casually drops in. Ugh. May successfully murders Master Torbin with some poison she obtained from totally not Sith Lord in a way that could only be described as absolutely shameful writing. See, May effectively just walks up to him and says,
"Confess your sins to the Jedi or get absolution from me right here, right now."
To which, of course, Torbin responds with, "Oh, absolutely no problemo." He then proceeds to pick up the poison, drink it, and end his own existence. So, mission accomplished, right? The targeted Jedi lives no more. But instead of leaving the planet immediately to hunt the next Jedi Master on the list, before the other pursuing Jedi can catch up to them, May and totally not Sith Lord simply hang around the neighborhood area at the same drugstore which totally not Sith Lord disposed of the original store owner. Now, surely the locals would recognize that he's not the original store owner, thus making it far easier for him to get caught because he is clearly an outsider. But hey, the characters in your show are only as smart as the people writing them. Next, we have a bunch of poor character development attempts with uninspired dialogue between Asha and Saul, but it all falls pretty flat because Asha is about as likable as urinating yourself when you sneeze. Oh, look at this, Amandla Stenberg's trademark school of acting. I swear, you can replace every scene she's in with a plank of wood with a drawn-on face, and it would probably have greater emotional impact to us, the audience. Oh, look, it's Jediabetes over here. Now, look, I don't want to rag on someone because of their appearance, but come on, this is pandering for pandering's sake.
We've got to pander harder!
It's like Kathleen Kennedy and her Lucasfilm genius creative think tank all got together and brainstormed about how to make Star Wars even more inclusive.
Oh, I know. Let's have obese Jedi so we can have that fat representation.
Oh my god, that is genius! The body positive movement will absolutely eat this up. No pun intended.
And thus we now have Jediabetes over here. So much for that Jedi level of commitment, training, and dedication, right? This episode features yet another overlong, lame discount store kung fu fight scene which finally ends when May decides to use the Force to flick sand at the Jedi she's facing off against, and they simply stand there helpless. I guess sand is their biggest weakness. I mean, Anakin also didn't like sand, but I mean, of course, that was before he blew up the Death Star.
The Anakin blowing up the Death Star possibly killed millions and millions of people. I'm gonna get in trouble for saying this.
You should just shut up.
It's just like,
Shut up.
Osha then discovers May is alive and vice versa. May escapes with totally not Sith Lord. and we get another tease of the Jedi Wookiee, further building anticipation to seeing him in action, which we know the writers are totally going to deliver on. Right? And that's the second episode done. I have to be honest here, this was somehow even more nonsensical, more poorly written, and more poorly executed in every conceivable way than the first episode. Oh, it is abundantly clear that the showrunner and the writers have no attachment or care for the Star Wars brand, and this is simply an ego vehicle for them to get their agenda out there.
I want to ask you both because this is, I would say, arguably the gayest Star Wars, I think, by a considerable margin. And are you excited about that? Are you bracing yourself?
Star Wars. Not the
It's pretty gay, let's be honest. How do you feel?
Am I gay? Yes.
Well, no, I know
Yeah.
you are gay, but I'm asking, are you excited about putting this, this is going to be a talking point?
talking point?
I'm sure some.
Because nerds are gay.
Well,
Yeah.
some nerds are very not gay and are very threatened by gay
Well, that's
stuff.
true. But
Yeah.
in my world, nerds are gay.
Okay.
People have told me that it's the gayest Star Wars, and I frankly
You're offended?
into it. No.
I think that Star Wars is so gay already.
Okay.
We'd be like, look how gay this is, and then send each other a reference photo.
And are you telling me with a straight face that C-3PO is straight?
They're a couple.
I think it's canon that R2-D2 is a lesbian.
Oh,
Ooh.
interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
I have to go now. Somewhere out there in the void, exorcism needs performing.